Good. Today we're going to talk about men's health. And first off, thanks everybody, as I said, for coming and to learn a little bit more about men's health. And secondly, I want to thank my four co-hosts, Scott Holdren, the technical whiz, and the supporting cast of David Swain, Rick Manley, and Quentin Gross, or Q, as he calls himself. Now, let's talk a little bit about men's health. For the men listening today, and for those who have men in their lives, fathers, brothers, sisters, friends, significant others, one of the things that we have to learn to do is to make health a priority for men. Most of our responses are like, oh, I got a pain right here. Okay, I'll forget about it for a day and it'll go away. And maybe it does or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, they'll say, oh, it's still here. I'll forget about it for another day. And other days run into months and years. And quite frankly, we don't focus on our health. We focus on everybody else's health. And from a psychological standpoint, that's because men think they're macho, right? In the martial arts, I can tell you a story about that. It doesn't work that way. But being reactive to your health is probably one of the most important things that we as men can do. According to a survey by Men's Health Magazine and CNN, 1/3 of the American men don't go to see doctors. Typically, men avoid the doctors. They don't want to know the numbers. They don't want to know the reason that they've got this illness or anything else. What we have to do today, and ladies, those of you on the call, and men, those of you on the call, we have to change the attitude of the male population and get to a mindset of being proactive. Regular health exams and tests can help find problems before they start. Let me tell a quick short story. About 16 years ago, I went in for the common colonoscopy. No problem, 30-minute procedure. My 30-minute procedure lasted an hour and a half. I was 95% blocked with precancer and didn't know it. I can stretch the story out for a longer period of time, but the long and short of it was Shaklee had come out with a new product called Flavamax. And to this date, every 2 years, I've had a colonoscopy, except for this year because of COVID. I'll get one at the end of the year. But there have been no signs of the precancer. The tissues are healthy, and I'm as strong as an ox. And if I had not gone to do that, think of where I would be today. Not here at the screen talking to you guys, that's for sure. Be proactive, be informed, go for checkups, learn your numbers. And this is interesting. You need to know your blood pressure. You need to know your cholesterol. You need to know your blood sugar. And you need to know your BMI. Everybody knows what that is. It's your basal metabolism index. And this is kind of funny. I relate this number to a hearing loss. That's my other profession as an audiologist psychologist. And that is, if you have a hearing loss, you don't just have a hearing loss. You've got associated things with it. They call it, the medical term is called comorbidity. I don't like that word, but basically it means that depression, dementia, potential Alzheimer's, all are outgrowths of a hearing loss. So you find a hearing loss and then you look to see what else accompanies it. The same thing holds true with that BMI number. If it's high and you're overweight, you're looking at things like diabetes, stress, a lot of different things. So what you want to do is be proactive, and be regular checkups and screenings. That all makes the difference. Now, we're going to look at the 4 areas where we can control to make a difference in our life. We're talking about nutrition, heart health, mental focus, and joint health. Rick, you with us?
I'm here.
Good. Can you go into the areas and start teaching us?
Sure, nutrition. Well, we know in the past men have typically been meat and potato eaters and have viewed vegetables as not so well. I'm one of those. Growing up in the late 50s, early 60s. I had to hold my breath when eating vegetables because 70 years ago they really didn't know how to cook them, and a lot of mine were overcooked. Uh, Recently, vegetables have become a big part of our life. We learn more about them through Nidrasar and the Fresh Start program, where we now religiously try to eat a plate of raw vegetables and hummus every afternoon. Continuing on, the National Institute of Health states men are less likely than women to recognize the health benefits of vegetables and their role in reducing many cancers, such as heart disease, blood pressure, and diabetes. Next slide. So
I did it.
let's start by looking at nutrition. Eating right and getting a variety of foods, preferably 7 servings of colorful fruits and vegetables. I find it very hard myself to eat 7 servings of fruit and vegetables every day. But you also need to get plenty of whole grains, beans, and legumes. Lean meats and fish and poultry are also a good source. Eating healthy fats, such as olive oil, nuts, and seeds. Avoiding trans fats of fried foods and the minimum intake of fast foods. And this is kind of interesting because, well, probably 15 years ago, through our upline, was suggested to buy a McDonald's burger and French fries and just keep them. Well, we've had them, like I say, 15 plus years. Probably a couple of years ago, we took them out, and they were actually really good to eat, which is probably not a thing you want to do. But good nutrition supports a healthy lifestyle and weight. What we do each day, beginning our day, we have a 16-ounce glass of hot tea and performance mixed together, followed by our life shake. Next slide.
Next.
Carrie, next slide.
You're there.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You want the next one too?
I like this slide, even though the background is hard to read, where it says making healthy food choices every single day can be hard. Just as an example, can we really eat 15 servings of the top loin sirloin steak? How about 7 medium oranges, 12 cups of mushrooms, or maybe even a dozen eggs? And this is not once a week, but every day. So Vitalizer is one of the products that Shaklee has that can help you fill the nutrition gaps. Next slide. So what is Vitalizer? Vitalizer is clinically supported, packed with the nutrients of your body. There's 12 clinical studies behind it, including the landmark study. Comes in 2 forms: Vitalizer Men, which is for healthy adults under 50, and Vitalizer Gold for healthy adults above 50. Vitalizer Gold also comes with and without vitamin K, and that aids in a blood clotting process. So the purpose of the without K is for those gentlemen that are unfortunate to be on a prescription medication for blood thinning.
Yeah.
Vitalizer will support the heart, immune, joint, digestive, and prostate health. Gives you physical energy. It includes Vital E, which is your multivitamin, B plus C complex with the sustained release technology, Crado E Omega, Optiflora Pearl, and the patented Smart Delivery System.
Rick, can you fill us in on that delivery system?
I sure can if you turn the slide. Next slide. Smart Delivery System is some developed by Shaklee, called the Shaklee Micronutrient Advanced Release Technology. And what this is, it's got a key delivery system that allows Vital E to dissolve in less than 30 minutes, which enhances the absorption of folic acid. Your B plus C complex has a coating which will deliver it to the small intestine where it is better absorbed. Corrado E Omega, again, another has fat soluble nutrients that go to the upper intestine to be absorbed. And Optiflora Pearl, that delivers to the lower intestine where your immune system is and helps generate with live microorganisms, over 500 million plus combined. Next
Okay.
slide.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. David, I'm putting
Next
you on the
is-
spot. Where are you?
I'm here. Can you
Good.
hear me?
Good.
Okay, super. One of the problems that men come across as they get older is maintaining a healthy weight. Actually, some of them, even in their teens, are having difficulties these days, but it's a cultural thing. But a lot of men find themselves to be really busy and that kind of thing, and they don't fit in the time to do those things that are going to help them do this. Instead, they're eating all those meat and potatoes and getting the results from what they're doing. So, but at some point, men are either going to come to a realization or their doctor is going to tell them that they're getting a little fluffy and they need to slim down a little bit for their own good. There are a lot of potential difficulties. And in those cases, Shaklee has some really good things. The counterpart to the Vitalizer that we just talked about is the Life Shake, and all the shakes that have come before that I've dealt with. And I would have to say that my life was one of the busier ones that I knew. From the late 1980s until about 2010, there were many periods of many months in a row where I'd be in a different city or a different country every week, giving training and that kind of thing. And if it weren't for the Shaklee shakes of one kind or another that came in little packets, I'm not sure what. Actually, I had to make up my own little Ziploc bags so that I could take them with me. And that was what got me through and allowed me to do things like go from Sydney through the United States over to England and get off the plane and give a 5-day class without dropping a beat and no jet lag. That's the power of Shaklee. But even losing 5 pounds, 5 to 10% of your body weight can result in really great health benefits. And the more you want to work at it, the better off you will be. We can replace 1 or 2 meals a day with a Life Shake, and then have one healthy meal toward the end of the day, usually, that we try to still maintain low calories and make sure we're making healthy choices there. But that can go a long way all by itself without even exercise to help people reduce their weight. And the nice thing about that is that besides the 20 grams of plant protein, that protein has a fairly high amount of an amino acid called leucine, which is a really magical thing. It helps us when we're on a restricted calorie diet to lose all of our weight from fat, rather than losing half of our muscle mass as well. And the muscle mass is the thing that determines what our metabolism really is. So we don't want to lose that, because our metabolism is in fact the engine that helps us to burn off the weight in the first place. So let's go to the next slide and see what we've got over there. A little bit more detail about the Life Shake, basically. So we can get more energy and things like that. There's a lot of protein, again, and the protein basically helps our body to rebuild all the systems that it needs to keep everything in tip-top shape. That's the most thing. That the leucine we've already discussed, and we also have prebiotic fiber these days and digestive enzymes in the shake itself. The prebiotics feed the probiotics that are already in the little critters that live in our gut, that provide our immune system support and also help us to digest various kinds of things. and the digestive enzymes help us with that as well. So we can process our food without other difficulties compounding the situation. Let's go to the next slide, because this is really key. If a person really wants to lose weight, then besides just cutting down on the calories that you're taking in and making sure that you're taking in good food, you also need to be exercising in some way or another. And that was always a problem for me. When I was a kid, I was this really skinny kid. I ate everything I wanted to and never seemed to lose weight, and everybody marveled at that. By the time I got to graduate school, that wasn't the case anymore. And I had puffed out quite a bit. And that's about the same time that I learned about Shaklee. And part of my learning about Shaklee was trying to do better with the PAR courses that I was running and the weight training that I was doing in order to try to lose some weight, because it wasn't working too well without the nutritional support. So anyway, we can go out and do aerobic exercises like walking and running. If you're going to play golf, golf only counts in this if you walk the course, not ride the course. And you will do better if you carry your own clubs. Just saying. And for tennis, tennis also doesn't count too much if you're just lobbing things back and forth to each other. Challenge the other person, have them challenge you and run after that ball. Then that's going to do something for you. But those things are all impact sports, and as you get older, sometimes that's not a good idea if you're not in better shape otherwise. So you can always put in cycling, which is my go-to sport for aerobics, or swimming or things like that that don't put extra pressure on your joints. But if you really want to lose weight, and I just finally learned this one last summer after some of the presentations that Dr. Westcott gave at the conference last year about all the work that they've been doing with seniors and weight loss. And the point that he made was that you need to do real resistance exercises. Those aerobic exercises aren't really resistance exercises. You need to get in there and pump individual muscles and take them to the point where they need to rebuild themselves, and then rebuild themselves with really good things like some of the Shaklee sports nutrition products, or just more of the Life Shake. Because you can start building muscle even at an advanced age like some of us have. I'm early 70s now. And not only did they find that, but they found that we could actually build bone mass as well, which was a kind of a new thing, and nobody had ever heard of that happening before. But sure enough, doing the proper resistance exercises and immediately after the exercise, getting some of the good Shaklee protein into your system will help with the bone mass as well as the muscle mass. Again, we're building
David,
more.
May I interject? One of the things about Dr. Westcott's study, which I thought was most prominent, was the fact they tried it with other protein drinks.
Yep.
And no results, only with Shaklee's protein.
Yeah, that's why they're dedicated to using Shaklee in all the things at their clinic now, just south of Boston here, just an hour south of me. So, and also you want to work on strengthening your core. That is your midsection, basically, your lower back, your upper back, your abdomen, and so on, because that's where your balance actually resides. And all you martial arts people would know about that one for sure.
Yeah.
Us dancers know those same things. I started out in ballet when I was 3 and stuck with that through college. So
that I would like to see. That I would like to see. Maybe we'll do that.
Me dance?
You
just weren't you weren't in any of those Florida conferences that we had. I was out there on the dance floor all the time.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, not doing ballet, but so anyway, that will help us as well. Now, another issue that's related to the weight, I'm going to go on to the next slide here, if that's okay.
Please.
Is heart disease. That's another thing that comes on for a number of different reasons. And it is true, as you said earlier, that it's important to know your risk factors, but let's talk about those a little bit. They say here that men with a family history of heart disease have, on average, an earlier onset of heart issues. I want to talk about family history. It turns out the family history is not so much the medical history as it is the history of habits that the family has passed down from generation to generation that each tend to bloat out a little bit. The things that they eat, the way that they eat, when they eat, and that lack of exercise. So yeah, one can notice that the blood pressure is going up. Your doctor will tell you that. Your LDL cholesterol, they can check on that. If smoking ran in your family, this is a voluntary thing, you can stop, and you'd better. There are a lot of reasons for that. Diabetes is often the result of overweight, which is the result of poor diet and poor eating history and family practices that you've picked up from your family because you didn't know any better, but you can change those. Physical activity, same thing. Excessive alcohol, same thing. So let's move on and talk about the remedy here. Actually, there's not too much on this slide, but heart health depends on choices that you make every day. And all of that is under your control. The only thing you can't control basically is your genetic makeup, but it's not your genetic makeup that does these things to you. It's your practices every day, and any of those things can be changed. Okay, so the final thing we have going on here is another thing to add to the mix, besides the Vitalizer and the meal shake, the Life Shakes, is Omega Guard. This is a product that's really great. It's a full spectrum of 7 ultra pure pharmaceutical grade omega-3 essential fatty acids. And they're naturally found in small cold water blue scale fish, like smelt and those kind of things, or even larger fish like salmon. And Shaklee, knowing that there are all kinds of problems, even with those fish out in the wild, because of the pollution that we've provided for them, they use a proprietary state-of-the-art multi-step molecular distillation process that not only concentrates the omega-3 fatty acids, but also removes the major contaminants, the heavy metals, lead, mercury, arsenic, cadmium, all those things, and the plastic stuff, dioxins and PCBs and all kinds of other things, so that we end up with a very pure product rather than the basic, let's squish the fish and put it in the can products that are out there right now, where they just give us the raw fish oil. And Shaklee is really good at telling you exactly how much of the omega-3 fatty acid you have in the fish oil. Most of the other ones just say, well, we'll give you 2,000 milligrams of fish oil, that ought to do you. Yeah. Shaklee is much more concerned about the things that you're getting out of the fish oil and what they're giving you there. That process also minimizes odor and the fishy aftertaste and all that kind of thing. So this helps us maintain a healthy heart, healthy cardiovascular system, helps us with lower triglyceride levels, all those other things. And if you're doing all that good exercise along with that, that's going to help you too.
Thank you, David, very much.
Take care.
Rick, what else are we facing? Are you on, Rick? Come on, Rick.
Oh, you forgot to unmute.
There you go. You missed the lead in.
What we're facing is stress, which could be a major trigger. And you don't want to underestimate its effects. Causes are overeating unhealthy foods. Like David said, smoking will also cause it, and drinking too much alcohol. So instead of stress, how to get rid of stress is to exercise, stay positive, meditate, and unplug yourself. Shaklee has provided a product called Stress Relief Complex. It gives you nutritional support that can help you quickly relax and stay calm. Who would really benefit from this? Well, anybody nowadays in a tough situation, they have stress. I mean, look at today's society where over 30 million people have lost their jobs. People are wondering where their next meal is going to come from. These are the people that are under really stressful situations right now. And so instead, stay positive, meditate, and stress can relieve itself slowly. Go ahead.
Thank you. Rick, thank you very much. Quentin, you're up, or Q as they call you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's interesting how funny stress works, right? So one of those things is I work in a job that is currently still running, and I'm considered essential, and that stress will just tear you apart. I mean, how many people have talked about gaining weight during this time frame? And so I've personally have found meditation to help work on a mindfulness practice has really, really helped me personally. Speaking about the mental side of things, I mean, we've all had that situation where we leave our house and we realize, oh crap, I forgot my keys because I can't lock my door. And then once you go back inside to lock your door, you realize, oh, it's actually sunny and I meant to grab my sunglasses. Where are those? And we're just doing this constant loop. We've all found ourselves in that situation. But it's interesting when you're talking about the mind and the brain that men, we see actually some depreciation in the full ability of our brains quicker than our women counterparts. So ladies, if we're forgetting, that's why. It's just science. But just kidding.
Okay.
But yeah, the neural connections with our brains start declining as early as 20, and by the age 45, that decline occurs more rapidly. And then in addition, as I touched on, men have more memory decline than women after the age of 40. And in addition, you see some brain shrinkage happen as well at worse or a higher rate than that of our lady counterparts. So, how do we improve this and keep our minds sharp? Being active. Blood flow is a key piece to keeping our minds sharp, because if there's blood flowing through our body at a good pace, that means that our brain's going to be fed that oxygen, which allows us to be able to think and maintain that. So are you being active? That's the one way to do it is, simply get out there. And we're not talking about, go run a marathon. That could simply be a walk. At work, we were talking about this the other day. Many of us were really stressed out with what was going on, and we kind of advised the team at 12 o'clock, go take a walk. Drop it, go take a walk. You come back feeling a little refreshed, and your mind's working. We're moving forward. Yeah, but we can, if you wanted to move over to the next one, that's going to be fine. You should have MindWorks at the top of the page for me. There we go. So we talk about being active, right? There's some things that we can do. We can eat healthier. We can exercise the brain by reading or consuming content that's going to help us. There's a number of brain apps that we can use. But Shackley came up with a solution called MindWorks. And essentially what MindWorks does is it helps aid some of those processes that go through to encourage that mental sharpness and focus. And they've done this in some testing as well, where when you compare to the control group, they're seeing up to 3 times more engagements that are happening within those individuals. So, what is made of it? It's 3 times better memory and focus and improvement. We saw 30% lower shrinkage in the rate of the brain. And then also, again, it's designed to be able to help us create healthy circulation. And part of that is all part of the ingredients that go into that specific supplement, which Shakti has been testing for years. So I personally taken it. It's fantastic. I actually just ordered a bottle of another bottle last night because I realized that was out. But a great way, we could all benefit from being a little bit more mentally sharp. I think we use that thing between our ears every single day. So the next slide that I have there.
I'm gonna back you for a second and interject. Joanne and I both know that those of us that are ADD, MindWorks is phenomenal. There you go. It allows us to focus. But a couple of years ago, Dr. Daggy, those of you who know him, had approached me. We'd been talking on other things, and he wanted me to take and give him results working with children. I love children, but that's not part of my practice and who I have the greatest passion for, and that's the seniors. So I have 8 gentlemen that I put on the MindWorks. The wives would come and talk about them withdrawing from society and being depressed and potential dementia and Alzheimer's type thing. So I put 8 gentlemen on the MindWorks. And they've all been on and they've all bought a MindWorks once a month for a little bit over a year now. One lady, the cutest of the group that I love to work with, comes to me after about 3 months, and her husband was a big gentleman, 300 and some pounds, and she's tiny, maybe 4'9", maybe 95, 100 pounds. And he's usually the life of the party, and for the last year, he'd been drawing away from it. She tells me after 2 months, 3 months, she comes up and she says, "Doc, do I have to keep buying this stuff?" And I said, "No, you don't have to, you don't have to do anything." I said, "What's the problem?" And she looks at me with a straight face and a little bit of twinkle in her eye, and she says, "We can't shut him up now."
Ugh.
So you are looking at, Quentin, move on. We're going to the other part that's important.
There we go. So, the prostate is a very, very important part to the male anatomy. And we hear more and more about the prostate, but helping support prostate health, there's some ways that we can do this. Eat more fruits and vegetables. We're starting to see a trend here, right? How many fruits and veggies are we adding into our plates? Can we add more plants to our meal to be able to strengthen our body within, because our bodies are designed to be able to process those things a little bit better. Not saying we don't want to incorporate the high quality beef and whatnot, but how can we feed our body the best way so it's able to heal itself? Our bodies are amazing healing machines.
Yes.
Are you getting out there and maintaining a healthy weight? So if we know everyone always has there's a difference between, I wish I could lose a little bit here, or I could change this about myself, but are we physically overweight for our frames? Because that can attribute to it. Exercising regularly, again, a trend that we've got there. Or discussing simply with your family health care provider. One of the ways that Shaklee has helped combat this is the soft metal complex, which essentially helps maintain proper urinary flow and keeping that prostate healthy. So there's a couple of things. It's the soft meadow, it's berry extract, it's pumpkin seed oil, and there's a couple of other things that go into play in that. But do you know anybody that currently has said that they're struggling with prostate? Or maybe it starts off something as simply as, I feel like it's a little bit more difficult to pee than it was normal. Again, those aren't conversations that we're necessarily going to be going out to our local Starbucks when they open and having with our barista, but it might be with somebody who you have that's a close family friend, and they might confide in that. So if you've ever heard of that, this is a great solution for them to help promote that healthy, along with some other pieces that go along, like eating and exercising. And that's where I get to land this plane, and I get to shoot it back over to Scott. So Scott, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Quentin. I guess I'll start with this piece of my story. Starts in 1999. Sue and I had been using the Shaklee products for about 18 years at that point. And in my first 19 years of teaching, I had only used a total of 3 medical days. And those were for dentist appointments. So we really felt that we were pretty healthy. And that all went away in 1999 for me. I went to bed on April 3rd with a sore back, woke up in the morning with a lot more pain and stiffness, and 2 days later was unable to sit or walk without really bad pain. So by the end of that week, my arms and shoulders and back were completely compromised. By the end of 2 weeks, I was bedbound and totally dependent. So that was a rapid decline. The diagnosis was finally made by a neurologist, and using an EMG test, which was, I'll tell you, if you've ever had one, they are long, they are painful, but at least we had a diagnosis. And I was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which you may recognize as GBS. In short, for people that haven't heard of it, GBS is a condition that's caused when your immune system reacts to a viral infection and then doesn't get the signal to shut off when the virus has been eradicated. Because of the chemical similarities between the cellular makeup of a virus and the myelin sheath in your nerves, your immune system turns its attention to cannibalizing your nervous system. So if you just imagine removing all of the insulation off of all of the wires in your house and then turn on all the switches, the electricity just goes anywhere and everywhere. And that's basically Guillain-Barré. Nerve impulses don't get to the proper destination and they just cause pain. Medical literature does say that a 90% or better recovery can usually be attained after 6 to 12 years of vigilant work. Sue and I weren't happy with that. So after about a week, we went in for a second round of the EMG test, and it was determined that I was recovering at that point. Now, the neurologist looked at us and said, and I quote him, "I don't know why, but for some reason, your body is healthy enough that it has started a spontaneous recovery. So we're not going to muck anything up by doing anything at this point. Just keep doing what you're doing." Well, we credited that to the 18 years of supplements at that point. So the real question here now is, so what were we doing? So in addition to things like muscle patterning, a TENS unit to keep the peripheral nerves connected, decrease pain, massage, heated clay packs, pain meds, we supplemented, and we really supplemented. So after 18 years of a daily regular supplement routine, we stepped it up. Now, the Shaklee supplements that were available in 1999 were obviously different from the current banquet, but this is the daily list of what I took, or actually what Sue gave me from Sue's notes. And just note, this is my list. This isn't, the same list that everyone would have. This isn't intended as a prescription for battling GBS. This is what we did. Water, lots of water. Now, I know that's not a Shaklee supplement, but we all know hydration is really important. It took about a month for me to graduate from Sue holding a glass with a straw for me to being able to lift a 1/3 full 8-ounce plastic bottle with a sport top. It took me 2 hands to lift it. Sometimes I would miss my mouth, but at least I could do that myself. Then the actual supplements. We had about 3 servings of soy protein performance or physique, 2 ounces at a time, 2 Optiflora, 8 Vital E, 8 Vita C, 20 B complex, 16 Osteomatrix, 3 Mental Acuity Plus, 3 Liver DTX, 6 GLA, 6 Omega Guard, 9 lecithin, 6 garlic, 2 Vita E's, 2 Carotamax, an iron, 2 zincs, lots and lots and lots of General Sleep Complex. And we found that extra Osteomatrix helped control pain. And I got to have fiber snacks or fiber wafers for my snack. So you can see that we really stepped up the supplementation. We joked about it later, not while it was going on, but later we joked that if I was awake, Sue was shoving a tablet in my mouth. I really hate to think how much longer that list I just read would have been if Shaklee had made suppositories. But needless to say, we really believe that it is amazing what the body can do to heal and rebuild when it has the right resources. So this all started in April of '99. Just to give you a little bit of a timeline, by July, I had lost 45 pounds. September brought the beginning of a new school year. I had lots of support, including Sue driving me to school every day. I was back in the classroom. November brought a couple of runs down the bunny slope, the local ski hill, just so we could take pictures to send to the neurologist. And note, that was 7 months into what they said was going to be a 6 to 12 year recovery. So in 2002, I had just a couple of fingers that were still numb, tingling, sluggish. So we said, that's it. 3 years, 99% recovery.
That's fantastic, Scott. That's literally, and you're
Yeah.
as good looking today. Are you better looking than you were when you started?
Except for the little white here in the middle, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not
but-
making fun of that. I'm not making fun of that, but that's phenomenal.
But I want to tell you that my Shaklee routine is really robust compared to a lot of people. But we were able to have me retire early in 2014 through an early retirement incentive. We sold our house. We've been living on the road in our 5th wheel RV for 6 years now, just in the country. Our home-based business is now a wheels-based business. Back in 1999, that was absolutely an unthinkable prospect. So, let me just say a word about the Shaklee opportunity. Sue stepped up the business from a Shaklee hobby business to sales leader in 1990, began working that as her only career. When this episode of GBS completely consumed us in 1999, Sue basically ignored the business completely, spent 24/7 on me, and she still got a bonus check every month. So it is amazing what the body can do to heal and rebuild when it has the right resources. But it's also amazing how strong your personal and financial lives can be with the right resources. I got to tell you, when we were first introduced to the cleaning products back in 1981, we had no idea how powerful this was going to be.
It's keeping you, it keeps you healthy, so it keeps your drive up. And I think that's one of the most important things. If you feel good, you'll do good. And that's what Shaklee does.
Yes.
Thank you very, very much. We're going to wrap up here. And as we finish our health chat, I hope that we've given everybody at least one idea to help the man in your life. And many times, how do we get things started? This information is great. It's exciting. I want to go take it to my favorite man in this case. And is he going to accept it? No, because he doesn't have the same enthusiasm that you do. But we found that the health print, and I understand, Carolyn and Joanne, that there's going to be an update to it in a couple of months. But the way it is right now is an easy, non-pressured way of introducing your male compatriot to starting a healthy role. It allows also us better to serve them because we know where their weak links are, whether it's physical nutrition, physical or nutritional. It's 5-minute test, 20 questions, and it gives you a guide, a way to go. Let me see. What do we got here? Scott, I'm going to take it over to you at this point. You want to end it out?
I get to talk about what we're doing with these Zoom rooms a little bit. So you can see on the slide in front of you that every Wednesday is this, what we're calling the Lunch and Learn Wellness Series, sponsored by Joanne. It's a casual, little bit more casual look at the different aspects of Shaklee. They are every Wednesday, 12:45 Eastern. We kind of chit chat around the dining room table. And then at 1 o'clock promptly, we start, runs about 45 minutes. You'll be getting emails from Joanne that have the link in it, but if you've got your pencil, it's just real quick. Zoom room 713-023-519. And next week's topic is a healthy medicine chest. Next. And then on Thursdays in the evening, it's more of a skill up Thursday, looking at increasing our skills to work with the Shaklee business. They're Thursday nights, again, 7:45, meet and greet chit chat. And then the event starts promptly at 8 o'clock and usually runs about 45 minutes. Zoom room 512-193-501.
Fantastic. Okay.
Could I just
Alright.
share my lunch with you?
Sure, I'm hungry.
Okay, well, I went to the store and what I got here is I got my McDonald's hamburger and my fries. And I didn't eat them because I think you'll know they're very hard, but they look just as fresh as the day I bought them about 15 years ago. If somebody didn't see a hamburger before that has that kind of look.
Sue used to have one of those hamburgers. And,
You with
oh,
it.
sorry, she's holding her own space bar down.
You've talked enough already today. No, Jeanette, I was going to
Oh.
tell you, Jeanette,
Dude,
I was
don't give
going
Dawn
to, I
any
was,
ideas.
Jeanette, I was going to mention my hamburger was 18 years old. I was using it as a display to, at a presentation. And toward the end of the presentation, the husband of the lady that was hosting came in and it's like, oh, what are you all doing there? Oh, hey, something to eat. He picked it up, took a bite, and the whole thing broke. So I no longer have my hamburger, but it was 18 years old at that point.
Donna, you have one.
Yeah,
You still
mine-
have it?
this is funny. It's a play on what you just were about to say. I moved here to South Carolina and had a problem with field mice that got into my garage. They got everywhere, and got rid of them all. And I opened up my ready to go Shaklee bag that I use for demos, and the burger was there. It was 20 years old. Burger was there. The French fries were there, but they ate the paper.
Who says nature doesn't know which one's smart? Yeah.
Exactly. I have a picture of it.